It's very interesting. So I want to take you through, this is a Quantum Physics 101, okay? Quantum Physics 101, all right? For some of you are like, what? No. You know, but some of you are like, okay, bring it on, all right? Okay. There is wave of the quanta. And think of the quanta as the individualized bundles or the particles, okay? So think of the quanta as the digitized bundles, if you will. So there is a wave of the quanta, and this wave can be seen as a wave of possible states, possible locales. Okay, so there's this idea that in the wave, there's this myriad of possibilities of what it can be, okay, of what this thing can be. What scientists have discovered is that when there is an observer observing the wave collapses to a single state, to a location. Before, in its waveform, they have discovered that there's actually all kinds of crazy stuff going on. There's actually that light photons actually exist in a non-local state, okay? There's a concept of non-locality. They've actually discovered that in this form that all the light photons of the universe actually know each other, okay? So it's an incredible thing. But when there's an observer of the wave collapses into an actual state, if you will. So this is an incredible thing. It's an incredible thing. It's actually said that consciousness causes the collapse of the wave function. So what I want to talk to you about is this wave function collapse. This wave function collapse. In quantum mechanics, wave function collapse is said to occur when a wave function, initially in a superposition of several states, appears to reduce to a single state. And how? By observation. Okay, you follow me? Okay, so the wave is several states, but when there's an observer present, the wave collapses to a single state. And how does it happen? Because there's someone watching. Because there's someone watching. Okay, so follow this. This is unbelievable stuff. It's actually said that consciousness causes the collapse of the wave function. A conscious observer. So this goes to the very nature of reality. This is where the famous question associated with George Berkeley's research comes in. If a tree falls in the woods, does it make a sound? Right? The question is a rebuttal to some of Berkeley's assertions, but with that we seem to know about quantum physics, it's a good question. How is it a good question? Can something exist without it being observed, without it being perceived? This is the fundamental question of quantum physics. Is a sound only a sound if someone hears it? The most immediate philosophical topic that the riddle introduces involves the existence of the tree and the sound it produces outside of human perception. If no one is around to see, hear, touch, or smell the tree, how could it be said to exist? And what this does is it brings us down to what I believe is an awesome argument for the existence of God right out of the center of quantum physics. How's that, you might ask? If you need an observer to initiate the wave function collapse of any quantum stuff, you need an observer to initiate the collapse of the wave of that observer's existence. Okay? So I want you to follow me on this. If someone is observing a light photon, okay, is it a wave, is it a particle? There's a wave. It's going to collapse upon the observation. So they're going to cause that to exist in a state. But if they're going to collapse that wave, that observer would need another observer to observe them so that their states would collapse to a single state. And that observer would need another observer. And so on and so forth. And so that you would have this regression of observers to continually collapse the wave. And so then what ends up happening? If you have this continual regression of observers to collapse the wave, and let's call that a set of observers. You need someone, a consciousness outside the set to collapse the wave of the entire set. And so what do you need for the whole thing to exist? You need an ultimate observer, an ultimate consciousness. Amen? And that's what we call him, ultimate observer. Let me explain it to you like this. Anybody ever set up dominoes? And you set them up on the table, and you're gonna set them up, and it's gonna go around and do all this stuff. And people have filled rooms full of this, right, to do all these domino falling experiments. So if the domino is gonna fall, if the last one's gonna fall, if the whole set's gonna fall, you need someone to actually push the first one over. And this is what they've actually discovered in quantum physics. And they're actually, when this first came out and was being discovered, there were some scientists that actually didn't know what to do with it. And literally, they were just, it's freaking out. And there's all kinds of articles. I just actually read an article this week on this. And some of it is kind of like, mind-blowing and gymnastics, but are you guys? Did you follow me on this? So in other words, for the entire set of observers, for the waves of all those observers to collapse, you need an observer outside the set. And it's almost like a lockdown. It's almost like a lockdown proof. Why? Because it can't be some inanimate object. It has to be a conscious observer. This is absolutely powerful stuff that's coming right out of the center of quantum physics and science. And this is absolutely incredible. It's power. It's awesome. We know what this ultimate conscious observer, we know him. What's his name? His name is Yahweh God, the God of the Bible, the God that in Genesis 1:1 created the heavens and the earth, created the universe.